recovery clinic. The MAR clinic assists those addicted to opioids. This clinic supports and treats people with the help they need. Complete dental services are available. Veteran assistance and financial aid are both available. Call SIU Center for Family Medicine in Lincoln for your appointment, 217-735-2317, or click their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Servpro of Piatt and Witt Counties is proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the WHOW Clinton Maroon Player of the Game, announced at the end of every Maroon sports broadcast. Our WHOW announcing staff will select that night's WHOW Servpro of Piatt and Witt Counties Clinton Maroon Player of the Game, whose play will be highlighted in each WHOW Maroon postgame broadcast, and that player receives a certificate. Remember Servpro of Piatt and Witt Counties, the leader in cleaning, restoration, and construction. Find out their services by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
7 minutes after 8 o'clock here on this Friday morning under cloudy skies in Clinton. It is 60 degrees.
From regional radio, DeWittDailyNews.com, and the WHOW app. This is local information making a difference.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. Coverage of the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Clinton's Warner Hospital and Health Services are prioritizing projects as inflation is greatly impacting projected costs. On the WHOW Morning Show Thursday, CEO Paul Skowron told Regional Radio prices will likely keep the city-owned entity from completing all three projects this year. He reminds the projects being targeted are a renovation of the emergency room, adding an entrance to the specialty clinic, and building a new wellness center.
Well, our budget was approved in April. It included three capital projects, and one is the emergency room renovation and expansion. Another is a western entrance to the specialty clinic, so patients don't have to walk through the hospital to get to the specialty clinic. And the third one was building a new wellness center on some of the empty property that we have on hospital grounds, because we have some initial plans, some drawings, and we have some initial estimates, and I knew that they would come in higher than old estimates. Didn't expect them to come in this high, but they're coming in, 20%, 25% higher than budgeted. And so that forces us to prioritize. Perhaps we can't do all three projects this year, but it also forces us to, temper our expectations on how much we can do in 1 year. And therefore, what is the highest priority? It's the emergency room. Which one of these facilities are used every day, 24 hours a day, 365 days? It's the emergency room.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of the smaller emergency rooms of the critical access hospitals or rural hospitals in the state. So it's always needed attention, but we really need to prioritize that this year because costs aren't going down. The emergency room will be able to expand the waiting area. We'll be able to pick up 2 additional exam rooms, and we'll finally have a real ER nurse station so that all activity can be monitored from one station.
Skowron indicates inflation is impacting rural access hospitals like Warner Hospital. He leads a network of rural access hospitals and points out recently that costs are increasing, and it coincides with significant events of the past few years.
That's really a subject I've spent a lot of time analyzing. Tuesday, I spoke at a conference, and it was described as a hospital without walls. And it's because of inflation that hospitals are being pressed to find ways to provide access to care that do not involve a lot of bricks and mortar and building because of the high cost of labor and materials. And so we took a look at the average small hospital and what it had cost to build it back prior to COVID. And it was about $488 per square foot. And when we looked at some of the factors that have affected the last 2.5 years, the Suez Canal blockage, the Texas freeze that shut down refining in 21, June 21, but especially the Ukraine war notched up inflation another level because it has shut down a lot of refineries and the movement and the purchasing of gas between Russia and all the other countries. So we've gone from $488 per square foot to $612 per square foot since that time.
With costs only projected to increase, the message Skowron is sending to his colleagues around the state is what he'll be doing at Warner Hospital, and that's to act now and begin projects that are of top priority.
That's the message from the experts. We had national builders and hospital design people at this conference, and that was the final message that they said. If you plan to build something, you need to do it soon, because we can't tell you that these costs are going to level out. There's no sign. That's about a 25% increase. There's no sign. The trajectory of cost isn't that it's going to flatten out anytime soon. It's that it will continue at some rate of increase that could get us, in a year to $650 per square foot. What does that mean? It means we no longer are going to talk about building an entire new hospital.
Right.
I got a quote for a new hospital, in 2015 of 26 million, and now we're at 46 million.
Oh my goodness.
We're doing very well at the hospital, but we don't want to borrow that kind of money. We can't tell lenders that we can project enough increase in patient volume that would support that. And as a result, we're focusing on these 3 projects and projects similar to that. Like you said, the roofing project that we have, there's a $600,000 project. We need to move on these things because labor and materials costs are only going to go up as far as we can see.
Aaron indicates the hospital will embark on an emergency room renovation first, though they could be held up by approval that pends from the Illinois Department of Public Health. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and while the focus on mental and emotional wellness has become more prominent, more still needs to be done. Tony Kirkman is the executive director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center and indicates stigma still remains around mental health and emotional issues we face. He says data for impacts on mental and emotional wellness coming out of COVID is not yet complete, though there is a lot to suggest there will be increases in those things. He says there was already a sharp increase in things like depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideation well before the pandemic. Kirkman notes it's okay for parents or guardians to talk with their young people about mental health and make sure they have a trusted adult to speak with. He encourages mindful apps on kids' devices, but also make sure you're monitoring what they're consuming on those devices.
Talk with your kids about mental health more. Talk about it, your emotional health. How are you feeling? Teaching kids emotional literacy. Make sure that they have a trusted adult to talk to. And I say trusted adult because that might not be you. As parents, we know we can say something 100 times until we're blue in the face. But if an uncle or a church member or a community member that's trusted says the exact same thing, well, that's truth. And it's frustrating as a parent, but find that trusted person. Get kids to have access to mindfulness apps, being able to teach themselves how to self-soothe. There's a whole bunch of them out there.
Really?
Calm is the biggest one I can think of right now, or Headspace. That's the one I use, which is really, really good. Monitor what your kids are putting into their minds. What's speaking into their heart? Watch that social media intake. What are they learning about this world that's valuable? Because there are a lot of things that society is trying to tell you is important, which we know is not important. It's fleeting. I would tell parents, make sure that their kids are getting enough sleep. For the average teenager, that's 9 to 10 hours of sleep. Sleep, the more and more we're studying it from a neurological area, it is our opportunity for the brain to flush out some of the impurities and to rebuild some of those healthy connections. So sleep isn't just about getting rest. It's actually about for mindfulness, letting your mind kind of reprogram or defrag.
With the summer break upon us, Kirkman encourages parents to let kids have fun and be playful. He says this is something a lot of kids lost during the pandemic.
I wrote this one down just because we're not doing this well, Seth. We're not. Is encourage our kids to be playful and silly. I heard a student at a school tell me that students are under pressure to perform better than their very best. And that was very, very eye-opening to me. And so I brought that to yet another student. I said, okay, so this student has said they have a pressure to perform better than their best. And the second student agreed with it. And I said, so what does it mean to you? And he responded, what that means to me is no matter what I do, I'm a failure. We need to teach our kids it's okay to fail. Failure is an important part of life. We learn lessons, but be silly. They've got, everybody wants to grow up and be an adult. Adulting isn't fun. I want to go back to being a kid. Teach them the importance of boundaries. Love your kids by showing them affection. Say, I love you. Hug them. They need to know that they are valued and they have purpose. And then I would also say some of the bigger factors of when we look at why are some kids suffering from anxiety and depression, minus the chemical imbalances, is because what we're finding out is those kids that have higher levels of resiliency and curiosity have lower effects of depression and anxiety. So encourage your kids to be resilient and teach them to always be curious learners.
Kirkman says it's okay to have our kids fail. It teaches them to overcome adversity and learn from their mistakes. He believes it's best to let kids fail in the safety of their home before they learn to fail alone in life. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Get the latest in local news anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com. A look at local sports on the way. Yesterday in high school boys baseball action, Monticello advances in high school baseball sectional action from Millikan University. They beat Eureka 4-2. Illinois fell in the first round of the Big Ten baseball tournament. They're back at it this evening. We've got recaps of those stories and much more coming your way in sports on WHOW.
It's time to play Trump or Consequences. Ready, Jill?
Let's go.
Thinking about Mary Miller and Rodney Davis in the race for Congress, who did President Donald Trump praise for fighting Joe Biden's, quote, runaway inflation?
Mary Miller, gotta be. Miller knows Biden is out of control.
Right, Jill. Next, who did Trump endorse for Congress?
Mary Miller. I know Trump backs Miller.
Correct. Miller has Trump's complete and total endorsement. Last question. Who is one of the very few Republicans in Congress to actually praise Joe Biden?
Who did that?
Rodney Davis.
So why would a Republican back Davis?
Good question. Because if you stand with Trump, Mary Miller is the right answer for Congress. Paid for by Club for Growth Action, clubforgrowthaction.org, and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Club for Growth Action is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Joe Biden opened America's borders to illegal immigrants. Now deadly drugs are pouring into Illinois. Overdose deaths are surging, and we're experiencing the worst crime wave in decades. Where does fake conservative Mary Miller stand? Miller says it's our responsibility to take care of illegal aliens. Here's Mary Miller admitting it.
If there's an illegal alien or illegal immigrant that lives next door and they need something, it is our responsibility as individuals to help those people.
Fake conservative Mary Miller is coddling illegal immigrants and putting Illinois families at risk. Conservative Rodney Davis is fighting to secure our border and deport criminal illegal aliens. Here's Rodney Davis.
Let's finish President Trump's wall, ban sanctuary cities, and stop illegal immigrants from voting in our elections. We need to get tough on illegal immigration. I'm Rodney Davis. I'm running for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Rodney for Congress.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. After picking up a regional title Saturday morning over GCMS, the Monticello Sages boys baseball team battles Eureka this afternoon. It's at Millikan University in Decatur in Class 2A sectional semifinal action. Monticello used a run of 11 unanswered runs to roll past the Falcons on a soggy Saturday morning at Tolono Unity High School. Eureka toppled El Paso Gridley Monday to advance to the sectional title. Eureka's regional championship game was postponed to Monday due to weather. The Sages enter action 21-8 overall. Eureka is 25-4 and ran the table to win the Heart of Illinois Conference this year, finishing 11-0 in its conference season. The winner battles St. Joe Ogden Thursday. The Spartans down to Pontiac 4-3. On Wednesday. Game time this afternoon is 5 p.m. Hear the action on 95.9 FM WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. Class 2A high school baseball sectional semifinal scores, I should say, from Wednesday. From the Pleasant Plains sectional, Quincy Notre Dame doubled up Shelbyville 2-1. Class 1A high school baseball sectional semifinal action from Wednesday. From the Bloomington, Illinois Wesleyan sectional, Delavan down Henry Senequine 8-1. From the Champaign St. Thomas More sectional, STM topped Armstrong 6-1. Class 3A high school baseball regional semifinal action from Wednesday. Chatham-Glenwood pounded Springfield Southeast 13-2. Mascoutah pounded Taylorville 21-2. Washington blanked Peoria Notre Dame 14-0. Peoria Ridgewoods shut out Metamora 5-0. Morton slugged Limestone 11-7. Lincoln and East Peoria tied at 3 in a suspended game that will resume this afternoon at 4:30. Springfield blanked Decatur MacArthur 15-1. Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin down Mount Zion 4-1, and it was Normal U High over Rantoul 10-0. Class 3A high school softball regional semifinal action from Wednesday. Mahomet Seymour blanked Rantoul 15-0. ISU had its season end with a 9-4 loss to Missouri State in the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament in a game that featured 2 rain delays totaling more than 4 hours on Tuesday prior to the postponement. Then a 13-minute rain delay at Hammons Field. On Wednesday, the game concluded 20 hours and 50 minutes after it started. Ryan Cermak provided a key 2-run double to put the Redbirds up 4-2 in the 5th before the first delay of 3 hours and 33 minutes. Missouri State, though, homered in 4 straight innings to take control prior to the second delay, which was unofficially 35 minutes before the game was postponed. ISU wraps up the regular season at 20-31. In a game heard here on WHOW, Jake Berger hit a 3-run homer off Rich Hill. Lucas Giolito overcame a shaky first inning as the White Sox beat the Red Sox 3-1 Wednesday night to end Boston's 6-game win streak. The White Sox won for the 4th time in 6 games and moved over 500 to 22-21. Jake Berger recalled Tuesday from AAA Charlotte after Luis Robert was put on the COVID injured list. Hit an 0-2 breaking pitch in the 5th inning that traveled an estimated 444 feet. Hill held the White Sox hitless through the first 4 innings, but lost his lead quickly. Jose Abreu led off the 5th with an opposite field double. A.J. Pollock reached on a throwing error by third baseman